this is Mrs. Lenkel, and I have Griffin here today, Griffin Davis.
Hello.
Hi. And we're going to start a new series called Artist Spotlight. So what we're doing is we're highlighting exceptional students that we have in the Fine Arts Department and sharing some of their artwork and talking about it a little bit. And Griffin, who's a senior, was recommended to me by Mr. Mizuraka, and I have Griffin in photography class also. And we're going to do this. He's the first one. So how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. So you are in Graphic Design Studio, which we also call Graphic Design 3.
Yep.
And you make a lot of really great things. What's one of the things that you've made recently that you're really proud of?
Oh, probably the class of 2022 logo that we did for the apparel shop.
Okay. So talk about this.
Well, this was a something that I was working on with Mr. Gary very closely. He was giving lots of input. He finalized. He's like, okay, I want to see this. I want to see a hawk. I want to see the W. I want to see the 22 numbers on there. So a lot of it was just a back and forth with him. But in the end, it was very pleasant. He was very nice about it, and he let me sort of play around and do whatever I wanted. And what we ended up with, I'm fairly proud of. I think it looks nice.
It looks really great. Just for the outside listeners, you want to tell them what computer program you used and a little bit about that?
I use Adobe Illustrator, but I also flip-flop between that and Adobe Photoshop, because the difference is that with Illustrator, if you zoom in a lot, it seems like continuous lines. I think it's called like a vector. Meanwhile, Photoshop exports everything in pixels. So when you zoom in on that, you see like little squares. So it's whichever one works best for the client. Something like this was done in Illustrator because it needed to have that clean sort of look to it. And if it was Photoshop, the little jagged edges of the pixels would mess it up.
I agree with you. It looks great. I love this. I can't wait to see the T-shirts in real life. What's another one that you've done in Graphic Design 3 that you're really proud of?
Oh man. Well, there's just been so many. I mean, I guess the World Language Honor Society one.
Yes.
That was the first project I think I ever did in Graphic Design 3. The first project, where I went out and had to really talk to a teacher.
Okay.
At that point.
Okay.
So what you're looking at right now with the torch, that was just one of the designs. I don't think it was the final.
Okay.
The final one was let's see if I can find it. She really liked the one that was just the text on the bottom left there.
Okay.
She really liked that one, as opposed to ones with all the other graphics. She's like, I don't know. I think the simple text is so it screams woodland. Or I think that was her words.
Okay.
But Ms. and I tried pushing her more towards maybe you should have the globe. Maybe you should have a little more than the world language, like just the text, because it just seemed a little too, I guess you could say, plain.
Okay. So how do you like Graphic Design Studio, where you get to work with other adults to make your projects? Actually, you're making their projects.
It's I wouldn't say it's something new, because you're working with teachers every day. You're around them and you're listening to them, but actually working with them is so new. But it's honestly, it's really fun because they give you input that you would never consider otherwise. With the cabaret poster that you're looking at, that was with Miss Gartman, and she was giving me all kinds of advice, oh, I think maybe the text should be this, maybe have a layout like this. And every teacher I've worked with has been kind like that, where they're not you need to have it like this, or you need to have this sort of design. They let you go, I want just these sets of words, and maybe if you want to arrange them like this. So that kind of free reign has been really refreshing and fun to work around with.
That's great. That's so great. I want to talk a little bit about your photography, because I really enjoy your perspective and your sort of different outlook on the world. So in thinking of some of the projects that you worked on so far this school year, is there an image in particular that you want to kind of talk about a little bit?
A lot of them I feel the same way about, because it's just me running around my house being like, what can I take a picture of that's interesting enough. I guess for the photoshopped one I did where the red is sticking out like that, it was a little bit more fun because I got to pick like bright reds and like sort of find an area for them where, you know, they stand out with the bright color. I mean, either way, you know, it was just fun getting to have that sort of experience as opposed to all the other photo projects we've done in your class where it's like have a subject and make sure that you take into account their entire environment and how they're framed, like rule of thirds and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So you're a senior.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plans for next year?
Well, I hope to go into a digital media major. I'm looking at colleges that sort of have that program offered stuff. I think Eastern Connecticut State has like a growing communications program. Like if I went to that college, I'd be on the frontier. Other places like SUNY New Paltz have had a well-established communications building with like tons of internship opportunities. So like with those two schools, I'm kind of like, I could go with either one. It's not like I'm compromising by choosing one over the other. But that's just really my plan. Go to college, do all that stuff.
That's so great. That's so great. And then also your portrait project. So here I have a picture that you did of Miss Yetzi. You want to talk about this a little bit?
I mean, that was maybe the hardest one I've done for graphic design, just because I was trying to make it stylized, like sort of like a cell shaded look, but I also wasn't trying to make it horrifying because you could easily fall into like an uncanny valley sort of territory when it's like, oh, maybe like the skin's like a little bit too bright or it's like, oh, the shading's all wrong. So trying to like nail that perfectly was so hard. But once I was done and like able to look at it and be like, oh, that doesn't look terrifying. It looks like how she looks.
It does look how she looks. It does look like how she looks. So with just like a month and a half left of school, what sort of advice do you have for other students at Woodland that aren't seniors? What sort of advice do you have for them?
I'd say obviously try and reach out into the fine arts programs, like, experience graphic design, experience photo, because I think that they're a good outlet to maybe if you don't think you're creative, I think it's a good outlet to maybe find out that you do have that in you. And on top of that, just interact with your teachers more. Like when they're there just teaching to you, you can't really get a read on them of who they are or like what they're like. But when you do like these side projects where you're interacting with them and working with them, it really lets you know them better and appreciate the school more.
I love that. Anything else you want to add? Any other thoughts? I mean, I as I'm listening to you talk, as a senior that's leaving soon, which is so crazy. I remember having you in photo one many, many, many years ago. And you really have grown into just a nice, young, fine man, like a really great student. I remember when you were in photo one and you took the pictures of the cars for your book. I still show that to the photo one students as an exemplar. It's so great to see your growth as a student over these 4 years.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future. Like you have to keep, don't be a stranger, post stuff on, social media, share it with us because we're excited to just see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. It goes by so fast.
Yeah. Especially with like junior year. Like junior year was just gone as like because of COVID, like everyone was sent home and I blinked and it was all gone. And now I blink again and I'm almost at the end of my senior year.
Yeah, it's fast.
Crazy.
It's so fast. Thank you so much.
No problem.
For being my first official Artist Spotlight person to interview. And I appreciate your patience and your time and all of that stuff. So thank you.
Of course. I thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.